What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hapticast, episode number 31. My name is Josh Toll, and I am joined by my good friend, Bret Roberts. Hello, Bret.
What's up, Josh? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very good. We have an awesome podcast today for everybody. Very excited about it, talking about a lot of big things, trying something new. But first, before we get into that and we give you the rundown, I think there's something that we need to talk about, Bret.
Oh, you got it. Looks like a swimming cap. So, for those of you that haven't seen, Josh and I uploaded a new video a couple days ago called Unclaimed Baggage. It's a new series. We're hoping to turn it into a series anyway. New video where we get packages from this place called Unclaimed Baggage for each other, and it's just random gifts. And as you can see, we get some good stuff from what you see over on Josh's head there.
Yeah,
so go check that out.
I didn't want to take my headset off to do that. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was cool. So make sure you guys let us know if you like it or not, so that we'll keep doing it. All right, the topics we're going to be talking about today, Bret. Amazon and their inability to actually make games, even though they spend billions of dollars on it.
That's right.
Game streaming viewership during the pandemic and some metrics there and how it's basically doubled. Vicarious Visions, which is the Tony Hawk, 1 and 2 remastered people, being absorbed, basically merging into Blizzard. And then we're going to start a new segment where we go over our top 50 games of all time, little by little. We're doing number 50 to 40 today.
Yep. Yeah.
As well as honorable mentions. And then we have a awesome indie intel this week for you all, talking about a game called Singularity.
From Japan.
So
I'm really excited for the top 50 games of all time. That's one we kind of came up with a couple weeks ago, and I'm really, really excited to share my list with you, and I know you're excited to share your list with me. So
I am. So before we hop into our main topics, Bret, what are you playing? What's going on?
I've been playing some VR, some virtual reality.
Yes.
But not alone. I've been playing with a good friend of mine.
Oh, who was that?
That's not you. No, it's you. Last night we had a little VR session, first multiplayer VR session we've ever had. We tried to play Riggs Combat Evolved or whatever the fuck it's called. Mechanized Combat League.
Yeah.
Your stomach can't handle that quite yet. So we switched over to, what was it called? The
Wipeout Omega Edition.
Yes, Wipeout. And that also was too much for your little stomach, so we switched over to Rec Room. So that was I want to say fun, but it wasn't very fun either. But it was a good time.
It was interesting. It was a good time.
Yep. Besides that, nothing really crazy. Really busy week for me work wise, so just taking care of some stuff. What about you?
Yeah. So same, been playing some VR. Just got the second whatever VR headset or whatever. Excuse me.
Got You're referring to the PSVR version 2 with HDR is what you're.
Yeah, with the HDR pass through box.
Yeah.
And played everything that you just said. I also have been playing Resident Evil 7 a little bit in it. Again, my ability to combat motion sickness is like abysmal. So I have to train for that. I have to train to play games. And then been playing a lot of Beat Saber.
Nice.
Which is a lot of fun. I played Vader Immortal, all 3 episodes, which was awesome. And then most recently, last night, not VR, I beat this game called Detention by Candlelight Games. We've talked about Red Candle. Sorry, you're right. We've talked about them on the pod before. That game is awesome. I don't know what else to say. It is the first time in a while when I beat a game and I was like, damn, dude, wow. It's the first time in a long time. I guess really since Last of Us 2.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. I recommend it. I won't talk about it too much more since you haven't played it.
Well, I do know that they did a film adaptation and they also did a TV
Yes,
show adaptation.
yes, which I'm about to watch. So,
Nice. I couldn't find the TV show anywhere, but I did find the movie. So
excuse me. I have to fucking.
sorry.
Dude, I'm drinking a shake right now. I don't think I mixed all of it up in it. Like,
Little skeet particles in your throat, tickling your
yeah, man.
esophagus. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. With that, let's hop into today's main topics. Brett, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Amazon. I'm ready.
So, Brett, this week, a couple days ago, or actually yesterday, from when we were filming this, an article was released by our good friend Jason Schreier, who has been the topic. His articles have been the topic of many segments on our podcast because he's a fantastic writer and is one of the very few investigative journalists in the gaming sphere.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week he released an article talking about Amazon and specifically their games division and how basically it's a shit show over there. It's really bad. They spend so much money on games. They haven't released a game, and they were founded, I think, in 2015 now.
Yeah,
They
it's been a while.
haven't released a game. They scrapped a bunch of projects. So let's get into a little bit. I'm going to run down some highlights from the article, and then I want your input. Okay. So
I'm ready.
so the dude that runs Amazon Game Studios, his name is Mike Frazzini. Okay, Mike Frazzini. And
Frazzini.
something to note is that he never made a game prior to beginning this venture with Amazon Game Studios. He has worked at Amazon for a long time. He's a lifer, as they call him. He's very close with Jeff Bezos, but he never made a game before taking over Game Studios. Okay.
Gotcha.
So the foundation of Amazon Game Studios and what their kind of mantra is for making games was founded on the Jeff Bezos' idea of making the biggest, most groundbreaking games, right? And Jason Schreier mentions in articles like they focus on this really instead of games that people want to play, right? Which is a major
Gotcha.
criticism of the developers that work for them. Now, obviously, Amazon Game Studios bought Twitch, right? Which is huge. For Game Studios, this Mike Frazzini dude has recruited creators of EverQuest and Portal, right? But within this article, Jason Schreier talks about that he never really listened to these people. So he essentially hired huge names, right? Developers in the gaming world to make games and then basically ignored them. Okay. Jason Schreier talks about that there's a bro culture in the office, that there was issues that basically Mike Frazzini went and created positions that were formerly held by women and put the position above them just so he didn't have to listen to the women developers within it. And there was another position above them now. And basically that Mike Frazzini was terrible in content reviews. They would, something common in the game sphere is that your development team will show the director or whoever's in charge what's going on. They'll play test it and they'll offer feedback. And according to people that he interviewed for the article, Mike Frazzini would give feedback that basically a normie would give. Be like, why is this color? What's going on here? Can we
It's
make
like a
this go?
placeholder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
copy paste, abysmal, whatever. So that's stuff specific to Mike Frazzini, but there is a little bit more here. So do you want to
Boy.
comment on any of that before I continue? Because it doesn't get better.
Yeah, I'll comment quickly. I want to start off by saying, just like in general, Amazon just has all the money in the world and they can do
Right.
like anything they want, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos clearly saw that video games are a huge profitable thing. He wanted to get a cut of that. Why? I don't know. I guess they just need more money, which they don't.
Well,
And
actually, with that point, he said specifically that he wants to do it as a means of selling more subscriptions to Amazon Prime and to get more foot traffic essentially through their online marketplace through video
Okay,
games.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that this Mike Frazzini guy, not the right guy to head a studio for making video games if he's never made a game before.
Right.
And he wants to make these huge worlds, but like doesn't care about the gameplay. It's almost like what's it called? What's that game called? Anthem, where like the game
Yes.
kind of just like looked good and like it was this huge open game, but like no one wanted to play it. It didn't have any like anything about it that made it charming almost.
Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
It's like when you build something,
Exactly.
but you don't put any care into it, and it's just a shell. And I think I
Exactly.
mentioned this to you. It's like this whole studio is just like a big pile of cancer that was just formed with money. You know?
Yes. Which could have been great if they had an like, they could make whatever they want with as much money as they want, but they have a doofus in charge who only wants to make the biggest stuff. So you're hiring all these people, but you're not really letting them create, right?
Especially the EverQuest and Portal guys that you mentioned.
Right.
I mean, how do you have guys like that of that caliber and you don't let them do it? I mean, in my mind, I would, if I was running this studio and I had all the money in the world, I'd be like, you're going to make a game, you're going to make a game, you're going to make a game, and we're going to make a bunch of games, and let's just be creative and game jam and, make something cool that people are going to want to play. We have all the money
Right.
in the world. Like, you know what I mean? If it turns out that it's not enjoyable during our play sessions, we'll just scrap the idea, but at least we tried, right? And he's
Right.
just focusing on these huge, big experiences.
Right. But
And as
that's
you'll
not.
see,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, as you'll see in our top 50 games list later on in this pod, or in another video, you'll find that sometimes some of people's favorite games aren't these huge, open, expansive, open world games, right? They could be these small, short little experiences. So I think
Right.
this guy's going about it all wrong. And then, of course, the bro culture, and just like maliciously hiring men to creating positions and then hiring men to fill those positions just so that they can be in charge of the women that he doesn't want to deal with.
Exactly.
It's just what a piece of shit, you know?
Exactly. But it
Guy's
goes
just
to
not
the
good.
no, it goes to the larger point too, which Jason Schreier goes into a lot of detail in the article. And if you haven't read it, I really recommend reading it. Because it's like him and somebody else wrote the article with him. I'm sorry, I don't know their name off the top of my head. But it's like 30 different people that used to work for Amazon or currently do in the game stuff. They talk a lot about the devs complaining about the corporate culture, right, of
Mhm.
Amazon and the focus on data rather than the artistic side of it. And what is the biggest thing right now? Where are people playing? What are people clicking on? What are people buying? We want to basically copy that and do that, right? And you saw it with failed titles that they made, like Nova, which was supposed to be their version of League of Legends, which has been scrapped, and then Crucible, which was supposed to be their version of Overwatch, which actually released, and then they scrapped and removed it from the marketplace because it was terrible. Like, you can't gaming is creating games and developing games is a lot of things, right? But it's not procedural. You cannot put something on a conveyor belt and just add things to it each step of the way and expect a good result, right? Even if somebody else had success from that. Because if you don't have a team that is invested in creating what you're doing, then you're not going to actually have a good end product. Creating games is art at every level, from the coding to the actual artists. And if you try to force that into some kind of corporate Amazon hierarchy type thing, which we know runs Amazon, they talk in the article about 14 leadership principles they have, including customer obsession and frugality. You can't fucking shove art creation into a corporate structure like that. It doesn't work. It
Yeah.
just doesn't work.
It's almost poetic how Amazon can't, like, it's like they're trying and they are failing over and over again to make a game.
All the
And
money
it's
in the
like,
world. All the
yeah,
money in the world.
it's like you'd think that they would get the point that it's not in the cards, but they
Yeah.
keep trying.
Right. So, couple quick more points. They initially one of the big issues was that Amazon was trying to create their own development software instead of using something like Unreal or Unity or whatever.
What a waste of time and money and resources.
Exactly,
Honestly.
exactly. So they created something called Lumberyard, which was apparently one of the worst things to code in and develop games with. They created their own proprietary thing, spent a shit ton of money on it, and it didn't work. And it used like web tools, like Amazon Web Services based stuff that like didn't work. It was not dev friendly, right? So eventually they hired Christoph Hartmann of BioShock fame. He didn't direct it or anything, but he worked on BioShock. He published those games. He worked at 2K for a long time, right? And he basically came in and was hired by this Frazzini guy, as far as I know. And Christoph Hartmann came in as like, we're not using Lumberyard. If you want to use Unreal, use it. If you want to use Unity, use it. But we're not going to mandate the use of Lumberyard anymore. Which now, their new game, which you might have heard of recently, called New World, which is in development, I think is being made on either Unity or Unreal. And continuing with that, there's so many abysmal pieces in this story. Was that basically it's a game where you take over, you go to a new world, right? And there was depictions of people like you as the player killing people in the game that looked like Native Americans, which caused a huge backlash. And this Frazzini guy was like, oh, this isn't racist. And they hired a tribal consultant, like a Native American tribal consultant. And then the Native American tribal consultant came out and said, yeah, it's racist. Don't do this. So they basically they didn't scrap the game. They scrapped those player models and are rebuilding it so they don't look like Native Americans.
That's interesting. Why would you think that's a good idea for a game? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know, man. There's more. I mean,
white
I could
people
the
game, dude. Just pillaging. Like, what?
Yeah, wasn't a good idea. But you know, and Amazon also has they have Twitch. They also have this Luna thing that they're doing with that's basically Stadia, which we've already talked about prior on the channel. We know it's going to fail. We don't want it.
It's in people's hands now.
It is. I actually have a beta code sign up thing, but I never did it.
Do you?
Yeah, I signed up. I'm not interested, to be honest with you. And I think you have to still buy the games even if you're invited in. So I don't. Whatever. But interesting last note is that the David Limp, who is running the Luna stuff, David Limp, said basically he's like, yeah, we're gonna kind of pursue publishing in this realm too, since Amazon Game Studios basically can't make a game. And obviously I'm paraphrasing and changing his words, but his quotes in the article read like that to me. He's like, yeah, basically Amazon Games sucks. So we're going to do this Luna thing and try to publish our own games while they try to figure out what the fuck they're doing.
And isn't that kind of like what Amazon does with films too? Don't they publish films?
Yeah, I mean that's their model for Prime, right? They started a couple of years ago buying up these smaller indie films almost in a lot of ways and releasing them, right? And where they have a lot of success with their own content, right, is Prime Video, where they do make their own TV shows and stuff like that, or buy other dying TV shows, right, and then essentially resurrect them like The Expanse and stuff. And Amazon has a lot of great TV shows and content there, but they have not been able to hit the same stride with games. And it's because games, in my opinion, is such a different medium. And if you have the head of your studio with this corporate mindset, like Frazzini clearly does, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. How many times have we seen this in the games industry? If you want a game made, hire devs and talented artists, right, to make the game and let them make their own fucking game. That's it.
The problem starts with leadership here. The problem is the leaders.
Right. Look at
This
fucking
Frazzini
Cyberpunk.
guy.
Look at Cyberpunk.
Yeah, true. Wait, what? Wait, look at what?
You heard it here, folks. We're never talking about the game ever again on this channel. We're done. I'm done. I really am done. I truly am finished. I don't know.
What game are you talking about?
I don't know. There's this game I thought I heard of that's really abysmal that we've talked about.
We don't talk about
before,
that game on this podcast.
Yeah. But anyway. So that's abysmal. I mainly wanted to bring it up because my big thing is that if you try to shove art creation into a corporate structure, it's going to fail.
I agree. All right. Moving on.
Yes.
Josh, we're going to talk about game streaming viewership. Now, clearly, we are still in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. Quarantine, nobody can leave their house. If you do, you got to wear a mask. And we've talked about in the past how things like, video games and movies and TV shows helped during this pandemic, gave us something to do. Certain games like Animal Crossing let us be together and have fun and live our lives in this virtual world instead, right?
Right.
So when this article was published by Polygon about game streaming viewership doubling in 2020, it was no surprise to me.
Yeah.
However, just how much it went up is pretty insane.
Yeah.
So here I have a statistic here.
Hit me with
Specifically, what's that?
Hit me with it.
I'll hit you with it, all right. Streamers who put their effort into Facebook gaming and YouTube gaming saw a larger uptick in viewership compared to those who streamed on Twitch. So that's just like a little interesting little tidbit. Why Facebook gaming and YouTube compared to Twitch? Could it have something to do with all of the abysmal shit Twitch has done in the last couple of months/year?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't even have a theory about how to answer that, to be honest with you. It could just be traffic, how they're pushing it, how they're advertising. Twitch has been established. Absolutely. Facebook gaming and YouTube gaming more recently is a little bit newer of a platform. Yeah. So maybe that's why. But yeah.
So let me give you the full statistic here. So essentially in 2020, overall viewership across all streaming platforms was up 78.5%. And it totals out to 27.9 billion hours of content watched.
That's ridiculous. That's a lot.
It's insane. There's some other things here, about YouTube and all that, but I think that was like the standout there is like the overall amount.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to just speculate with you as to why, Facebook and YouTube were the two biggest platforms for this.
Oh, that I do have a theory on now, actually, that I think about YouTube specifically.
Okay, here's mine. Okay, who is the number one?
The name.
Back to back.
It's Doctor. Always curious.
Blockbuster video game champion, Josh.
Dr. Disrespect.
Respect.
Dr. Disrespect. And where's he streaming? He's on YouTube.
I know you're gonna die every week once.
And who's his partner in crime?
Not to put any pressure on you.
Z-Laner.
And where does Z-Laner stream?
This is the reality check.
Facebook.
That's it. That's the answer.
That was my theory actually too. I mean, it's honestly hard to put into words how. No, I think it's actually not a joke. To be honest with you, I thought the same thing, and well, it's kind of partially memey, but it's hard to put into words how popular Dr. Disrespect is. Besides his live streams where he's getting, the most, at least that I've seen, the largest concurrent viewer base when he goes live out of most streamers, even after he got fucked by Twitch. And there's a lot of other big people too, obviously. And Z-Laner too, who was kind of popping off on Facebook, but was almost unknown prior to the pandemic starting. And then when Doc was just like, one day, I want to stream with a rando on Warzone. And he connected with this smaller Facebook streamer, Z-Laner. And you can look at those metrics when Z started streaming with Doc and look at how much more popular Z became when he started streaming with Doc. And now they play all the time. And they're fucking ridiculous, by the way.
They're good.
Together.
They
are awesome together. And they're a lot of fun together. But yeah, man, I think that's partially a meme, but also partially, come on, dude.
No, it's weird. It's a weird coincidence if so. I think another thing that, it could be is the Facebook specifically is, more people were on their phones. More people were at home on their phones doing nothing. And the Facebook gaming or Facebook Live, whatever the hell it's called, is so easy to access. You just scroll, right on your phone and it's there. Facebook is huge for watching videos, which is surprising, but not surprising at the same time, considering how many users are actually on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it could have something to do with the fact that people were just stuck at home and they were just on Facebook and they just saw the shit pop up in a little ad and they just started watching it, I think it could be as simple as that. But I like your idea with Z-Laner and Doc a lot more.
Yeah, I mean that's just you saw when I think YouTube put something out too when Jock switched from Twitch. Well, when he was forced basically to switch from Twitch to YouTube, like the metrics of when he started streaming on YouTube and the amount of people that watched YouTube gaming specifically. Come on, man.
Yeah.
He's bringing, I mean, literally millions of views to the platform.
It's pretty crazy. And I'll read this last statistic. So, YouTube specifically, roughly 54.9 million hours were streamed in 2020 versus 55.4 million hours in 2019. However, YouTube's viewership of that streaming content increased twofold. Right. Data shows that viewers consumed 6.19 billion hours of streaming content in 2020, up from 3.15 billion in 2019. So
it's all from Doc.
It's all and us.
Yes. Only Doc and Haptic Intel impact YouTube gaming statistics.
That's right.
And you could take that to the bank.
Cheers.
All right, Bret, you want to kick off the next one too?
Yeah, I'll do it. So, Vicarious Visions, the creators of several Crash Bandicoot games, especially like the remaster, and the maker of Tony Hawk, specifically the remaster, they're merging with Blizzard. So, here's the story. Vicarious Visions, the studio behind the recent Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered, is now a part of Blizzard Entertainment, reports GamesIndustry.biz. The studio has been merged with Blizzard to provide long-term support. Blizzard has been working with Vicarious Visions for some time, a representative for Blizzard said, but it's not clear on which projects they were helping with. Blizzard has a relatively high number of announced titles in development, including Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, and Diablo Immortal. We may know more about Blizzard's plans and how they involve Vicarious Visions' more than 200 employees very soon. BlizzCon Online, or BlizzCon Launch.
Yeah.
Why did they name it that?
Yeah, dude, I know.
Why did they name it that?
BlizzCon Online, dude.
No, BlizzCon Live.
I know, but I'm not calling it that. I refuse.
They should have called it BlizzCon Live.
Yeah, Bret, that would make too much sense, dude.
An online version of the developers' annual BlizzCon gaming convention will take place on February 19th to the 20th.
Right.
Vicarious Visions was acquired by Activision in 2005, then went on to develop games in the Guitar Hero, Transformers, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and Skylanders franchises. What the hell are they doing with Blizzard, Josh?
I think this goes back to our Amazon conversation too. Seem to me like they're taking a developer and trying to push them into a corporate structure, right? We know how bad Activision is, right? Which, Activision owns Blizzard. They're Blizzard Activision. Who fucking cares? Whatever. Now, this could be a good thing for these titles if they're working on, Diablo or Overwatch or any of those types of things. That could be interesting, to have a studio like them be involved with that. But to me, why would you take them away from doing stuff elsewhere? And it seems like this has been developed, like them merging or working with Blizzard more closely on like first party IP stuff or whatever has been going on for a little while now. But to me, why would you inhibit, a studio like this from kind of doing their own thing?
Yeah, it's very weird. And it's like, Activision still owns the rights to Crash and still owns the rights to Tony Hawk games. So is the next game in those series going to be made by Blizzard? Because Vicarious Visions is part of Blizzard now, so that would be fucking weird.
It's possible. I don't know.
Here's my speculation, Josh. So we had Vicarious Visions. They just did the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered that just came out. They did Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which was a remake of the original first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. So I heard a rumor that Blizzard is working on Diablo 2 remastered. Or just a new version of Diablo 2. Do you think it's possible that Vicarious Visions was merged into Blizzard so that they can work on Diablo 2?
It's possible. I mean, listen, Blizzard might also just want you look at how popular like Blue Point games are. Look at how well Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remastered did. They might just
Yeah.
want like almost like an in-house Blue Point Games to do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And their Blue Point is Vicarious Visions. Which
Yeah.
listen, I'm not against. I understand from a business perspective or like a streamlining type of thing, it might make sense. But I never I mean, does Activision really need more? Like, do they really need more?
No.
We both hate Activision. It's simple. I think they're a terrible company. They make really good games sometimes, but their corporate practices ruin games, right?
Yeah,
In my
for
opinion.
sure.
Same way EA does. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this could be as simple as this, Josh. You know, Blizzard was short-staffed with all these new projects they're working on. They needed more guys. Activision was like, you know, you guys get so much money already anyway. We're not going to give you the resources to hire more people. We have Vicarious Visions over here. They're not working on anything right now. So let's just merge them together, and now you guys have more people. It could just be as simple as that.
Could be. We'll
Sad.
see. Yeah, sad. Time will tell.
All right.
Okay, Brett. And everybody
All right,
watching.
Josh.
Hello. This is it. This is the time. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome inside of Haptic HQ for, we've been in here the entire time, but that's okay, for the first installment of Brett and Josh's top 50 games of all time. This is the new segment we're starting, right? That will obviously release as separate videos and still be part of our larger podcast, where Brett and I just go through. Usually, we're probably going to do like 10 at a time, all the way up to the top 10 for the next couple of weeks about what are our personal, each of us individually, our personal top 50 games of all time. Okay. Now, once we get to the end, which I guess will be in a couple weeks from now, we'll score them, rank them. You know, as far as both of them goes, we'll let you guys know what Haptic Intel's top 10 games are of all time. And then obviously, you know, you can all take this with a grain of salt. These are our personal choices. You know what I mean? These are what we thought about. There's a lot of factors into it. But, you know, don't get your panties in a bunch. It's okay. Everybody has their own opinions. And that's it.
That's right.
Today, Brett, what we're going to do is we're going to go through our honorable mentions. I know each of us have some. Just quickly run down our honorable mentions that didn't make the top 50. And then we're going to cover our 50 to 40 games. Okay.
Sounds fair.
So, Brett, why don't you kick us off in the first installment of our top 50 games of all time? What are your honorable mentions?
All right, Josh, I'm going to give you my honorable mentions. But before I do that, I just want to say shout out to GG app. It's on iOS and Android platforms. We're using it to rank all of our top 50 games. You can check out our lists on that platform. Again, it's GG app. They have a website, ggapp.io. And again, we're on there. So go follow us and you can see all the games that we review. You can look at all of our lists. And we can look at the stuff you guys are liking and you guys are playing. And you can find that in our description at our link tree. So go check that out.
That's right.
Honorable mentions.
We've been with them from the beginning.
That's right.
GG.
We've been with them since they first started. So if you like, you know, Letterboxd, the app for movies, it's basically that for games.
Yeah.
All right. So I have 7 or 6 because it's 57. So I have 6.
No,
6 or 7 honorable mentions.
Okay. You have a number of honorable mentions. Got it.
All right. So, Josh, number 57 is a Game Boy Advance game called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul.
Okay.
Now, this is my, you know, personal favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Game. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot as a kid. I played Game Boy Advance a lot as a kid, Game Boy Advance SP. And this was one of the games that I had with me at all times. I had multiple copies of this game even. My favorite part was you could actually input on every Yu-Gi-Oh! Card at the very bottom. There was a number, right? It was a little code. And you could actually type that in and it would give you the card in the game. And you'd be able to use that. So I like that ability, you know, before microtransactions where you had to buy every card. You could just basically make your deck that you have in real life and put it in the game. So
that's cool.
Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul, number 57. Number 56, another nostalgia trip for me. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2. This game was on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. I never played Raging Blast 1, but Raging Blast 2 was a really good, great game, in my opinion. It had a great cast of characters. It actually was the first time English and Americans got to see Hachiak, I believe his name is. He's a villain from Dragon Ball. He was in the game, and the anime was included in the game as well, so you could watch it. Just a better version of like the Tenkaichi style games, and probably my favorite modern Dragon Ball Z game, or at least my favorite in a long time.
Love it.
Number 55, Astro's Playroom.
Ooh,
This did not make my
nice
top
addition.
50.
Nice addition.
Unfortunately, the way things played out, certain games that I love didn't get on my list, and this is one of them. What a game. And I know you love this as well. It was just such a fun experience on the PlayStation 5. I can't talk about it more. I'm going to be playing Astro Bot Rescue Mission next on VR, and I think that might claim a spot on the top 50 if what I'm hearing about it is true.
Love it.
54 is Double Fine's Brutal Legend.
Ooh, nice.
Came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, starring Jack Black, as I believe his name is Eddie Riggs. This game would have been higher on my list if it didn't have the tower defense mechanic gameplay.
Wow, I forgot. You're right.
That just didn't grind with me in a good way. But like the soundtrack is phenomenal. The third person action gameplay is great. The combos that you can do, and the story was pretty good too.
Yeah.
So number 53 is Accounting Plus for PlayStation VR.
We just talked about that yesterday.
We were. This is probably, as of right now, my favorite VR game. It's really funny. Justin Roiland was one of the writers on it. It's made by Crows. It's just such a funny and fun game, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
52, Prototype.
Wow.
Now, this game was also a little higher on my list, but as things happened, it got pushed down.
Damn, you're taking me back right now.
Prototype is such a good game. Again, released on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. A lot of great games on those systems. Alex Mercer running around with a fucking sword arm, and then you change it into a fucking giant fucking ball, and you're smashing it. You have armor. It fucking goes on your whole body. The game was cool. I think the thing that really took it lower for me was just the edginess of it, and the story was not the best.
Yeah.
And also they followed it up with Prototype 2, which I heard was just shit. So
Yeah.
But the gameplay is very fun, and you can just run around killing people for a long time. And number 51, my last honorable mention, Josh, is the first video game I ever played, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Wow.
Now, a lot of nostalgia there for me. Great game, flawed but great game. I've beaten the whole thing since then, and I think it's a classic. It would have gotten higher on my list, but again, it just got pushed down. So that's my honorable mentions. Josh, what do you have for me?
My honorable mentions. I have 7 of them. I got 6 or 7. 8. I don't know.
Hit me.
Number 58. PT. Now, why is it an honorable mention, Brett? It's because it's not a full game. And it is, and it isn't. And that's why I didn't feel like I should put it in my top, because it's more of an experience and an event type thing, the way I look at it, rather than a full game. Love PT, and especially what could have been of PT. So, yeah.
Real quick, I want to mention, Josh, you will be seeing that from me, but I don't want to give too much away, but you're not going to be seeing that one for a few weeks, if that tells you where I ranked it.
Oh my God, you're nuts. 57, TF2, Team Fortress 2. Played a lot of that game. You and I have played a lot of that game. It's a fun game. I look on it very fondly, but just wasn't quite up to snuff with some of the other stuff on my list. Again, like a lot of these titles, they were higher at one point, but as you develop the list more, stuff gets shifted around.
Understandable.
56, Far Cry 3. I put this game on anywhere on this list for one man and one man alone. That's Michael Mandow, who played Voss.
Yeah.
Still to this day, one of the best villain performances of any video game of all time. This man is menacing, he's insane, and the way that he defines insanity in that game, I will never, ever forget that scene. A beautiful performance, and that's why I put it here. 55, The Beatles Rock Band. A surprise, I know, to be sure, but a welcome one. Beatles Rock Band. I am not a huge Beatles fan. I like the Beatles. I appreciate the Beatles. I don't like listen to them constantly, but I did have a phase when I was younger where I really liked the Beatles. I was super pumped when I was a kid. Not really a kid. It's probably middle school or high school, honestly. And Beatles Rock Band was coming out. And I was like, I got to pick this up and play it. I picked it up. I got the weird guitar that they released for it. And I played through the Beatles Rock Band in one sitting and then never played it again. I played it in one sitting and then never played it again. But the way that they portrayed it and how it was the first Guitar Hero game really that took real life events and venues almost and let you play moments of the Beatles history. And as somebody who's a rock and a metal fan, I really appreciated that and it's always stuck with me. Okay. Next one, 54, another rhythm game, Guitar Hero 2. Guitar Hero 2, one of the best Guitar Hero games in my opinion, one of the ones that I had the most fun with and also played the most. It was the first time we saw or you were able to create or develop your own character too, I believe. I don't think the first game had that in the same way that Guitar Hero 2 did. And also the soundtrack for Guitar Hero 2 was just mwah.
So, fun fact about Guitar Hero 2, I believe that is like the one that most people started with first. Guitar Hero 1 really didn't it came out and nobody really played it. It wasn't until Guitar Hero 2 that the game series kind of picked up steam and got big. That one actually didn't make my list, Guitar Hero 2, only because the soundtrack is actually played by a cover band. Every song on that whole game are covers. They're not the original songs. And for that, I didn't put it on my list because why not?
Didn't even know that. But I enjoyed it. And nostalgia played a huge factor there too.
Great game.
Next one, 53, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
Nice.
Why is this on my list? Again, it's nostalgia. I wanted a game for my Xbox. I went to GameStop with my mother, and there was nothing out really. And I was like, I need a game to play. I want a game. Saw Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I was like, all right, this looks like a racing game. Cool. You could be a cop. I played the fucking shit out of this game when I was a kid.
Was that Xbox 360 or Xbox original?
Xbox original. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit was Xbox.
So it was like a PS2 era game.
Yes. I played the shit out of that game. And funny story quickly about this game. I didn't know that the point was to actually get caught by the cops. You wanted the cops to chase you because that's the point of the game. Dude, I would drive so slow past cops in the game and I was like, why aren't I progressing? What's going on? What's happening? It's because you're supposed to alert the cops.
So you can outrun them.
Right, but I never did.
Yeah.
So, next one, 52, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Why did I put this here? It is the first, and you can crucify me, it's fine. It's the first Pokemon game I actually beat from start to finish, and I loved it. I had such a good time with it. I know it's much more simplistic than other Pokemon games, but it's a faithful recreation or retelling, whatever you want to call it, of the original Pokemon game. And it's just, I had a lot of fun with it, man. And it was cool to experience what you all kind of experienced when you were kids, and I didn't, through a very fresh lens.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Cool.
And then
That's a good one.
Yeah. And then 51, another Pokemon game, Pokemon Shield, because it is the second Pokemon game I ever beat, and I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot, and all the DLC, and playing with you, and it is the story. I just really enjoyed it, man. And I'm very fond of that game. So it rounds out my honorable mentions.
All right, well then let's start with 50 through 40 or 50 through 51. We're gonna save 40, right?
50 through 41, yeah.
Yeah. Wait. 40.
50 through 41.
Yes.
Yes.
Math.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start then. So let's do this. I'll do my 50, you do your 50, 49, 49. How's that?
Gotcha.
All right, so, top of my list, official, Bret Roberts.
Technically bottom of your list.
Yes. Favorite games of all time, number 50, is Destiny. So, Josh, Destiny came into my life at a weird time. I'd just gotten my PS4. The beta launched, and I felt like I was playing the coolest thing I've ever played in my life when I played Destiny. You hop in that open world, or semi-open world, riding around on your bike, playing with your friends. They jump in, your fire team, you're all together flying around. Look, I just found this secret cave with this thing in it. I just found this treasure chest. That game was just, from the minute I played that alpha, I was hooked. We played the shit out of Destiny.
We did.
And I didn't include Destiny 2 on this list. I don't think I did anyway, because I didn't have nearly as much fun as I did with Destiny 1. And it was just a big part of my life. I got the big collector's edition for it. We played it a lot, and it was a good time. I really, really like Destiny. So
that's a great addition. It's a great addition.
Yeah.
My number 50. More recent game might surprise you. Blair Witch.
Wow.
This game, first of all, we're both big fans of the Blair Witch franchise, okay?
Yeah.
And found footage. This game is spooky. It's got puzzle elements, but it has the most interesting implementation of procedural generation and choice-based outcomes that you will ever experience in a video game. You will not know how many things you do in the game impact the outcome until the very end of the game. And when I say how many, literally hundreds of decisions that you made throughout the game, it will tell you at the end of the game exactly what you did wrong or what you didn't do. When I finished this game, right, and it's pretty short, it's about 4 or 5 hours. The story is really good, and if you're a fan of Blair Witch, you will enjoy it because it interweaves itself brilliantly. At the end of the game, when it's almost, I would compare it to like a journey moment where it's like, wow, I didn't know I was playing with another player, which is not the shtick of Blair Witch, by the way. No, that's not a spoiler. How it makes you choose and doesn't tell you anything, right, makes the ending of that game super impactful. And
Gotcha.
I have never seen a choice-based system implemented the way this has been before, because it's a popular thing in video games, and I don't know if I will ever see one as complex and impactful ever again.
Wow. That's one that I really have to play. And again, it's on my list of games to buy or games to play on GG app. So I will be checking that out.
Yeah. That's my 50.
All right. Number 49, Josh. Mirror's Edge, the original. Wow. This game is, one of my favorites. It's number 49. It's on my list. It's one of my favorites. Just the fact that we up until this point we never got like a parkour video game, right? You can do combat, but that's not the point. You can shoot a gun, but that's not the point. I think that it's like puzzle solving in a way, the way you traverse around the map. And I love the environment, how everything is so white and clean looking. And then, if there's an area of interest or where you have to go next, it's like red. I just had a lot of fun with that game. And it's the kind of game where you kind of get sick of the same shit. You just turn Mirror's Edge on and you're like, wow, what a breath of fresh air this was. Because it's again, you're not supposed to be running and gunning. You're supposed to be avoiding, dodging, running, jumping. I think it came into my life at a time where I was sick of a lot of the things that were happening in the game industry, the sameness of everything. And I bought it on a whim, and I was really surprised, and I really, really fell in love with it. So yeah, Mirror's Edge is my 49.
That's awesome. Good addition.
Thank you.
My 49, Bret, a Rockstar game. LA Noire.
Nice.
LA Noire is a fantastic game. Has a super interesting story. And the big draw of it, right, when it came out, and what still sticks in my mind is the choices, right? Reading people. What are you going to ask as the detective to get the information that you need? What if I say this, then it shuts you down and you're not going to get the information that you need?
Yep.
The detective nature of it and the who done it aspects, all the way through the ending, are why that made my top list. It is super intriguing. I know people have issues with the ending. I do some myself, but it is a very intriguing ending, and an ending that I know you and I both actually always like, when you find out something where it's like, oh, we've had an unreliable narrator, right? This person is responsible for it. So
Yeah, for sure. My only thing is that with that game, I felt that there was like a twist, and I played it when I was a kid, and I kind of I didn't understand why that
mhm.
would happen. So I didn't include any Rockstar games on my list.
Wow,
Yeah, I don't think so anyway.
that's very
I don't
different
think
from my list. I have several.
yeah, I don't think I included any of them. But yeah, that one specifically is one of my favorite Rockstar games for sure. If I were to include one, that would probably be that, or Red Dead 1 would be it.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. So number 48. This one's a weird one. I don't know if you've ever played this one. I know you're going to be playing the remake or the new version of it that's coming out very shortly, and that is Pokemon Snap for
Mm,
the Nintendo 64.
mhm,
This one is just like one of those weird spin-offs of a huge franchise like Pokemon that
mhm,
you don't know if it's going to work, but because of the nature of the franchise with these cute creatures that are, interacting with each other in this world, it works, and it works really well.
mhm.
And nostalgia plays a part in this because I remember, going to Blockbuster back in the day, they had like the Pokemon Snap machine where you could plug your cartridge in and print out the pictures you took. So there is a little bit of nostalgia here that's, tapping into it. But Pokemon Snap is just such a cool concept. I love the way you would have to to access new areas or the next level, you would have to find like little secrets and interact with the Pokemon in a way that they would unlock the next level for you. The fact that this game never was released on the Wii U with the gamepad shocks me. I don't understand how they went that whole generation of the Wii U without making a Pokemon Snap game.
Mhm.
But we're finally getting it on the Switch, and it has such a huge cult following. And I'm just so happy that they're finally making another Pokemon Snap game. So
Yeah, I'm excited to play the new one on Switch. My 48, Brett. I don't actually know if you've ever heard of this game. Um, and you might not have even ever played it, likely. Midtown Madness 3. Have you ever heard of this game?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
It is a racing game. Um,
Looks like Crazy Taxi.
yeah, kind of. It's an arcade-based driving game, essentially.
Okay. Okay.
Why do I like this game? Do I expose myself and tell you why this? First of all, it's purely nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the few reasons why it is where it is. I have such fond memories of this game. Another original Xbox title that I played the fuck out of, my man. Played the fuck out of. Was one of the first games that allowed you to play system, like, so in the original Xbox, you could upload music, right? You could have
Yeah.
music on your Xbox. This was one of the first games that allowed you to play system music over the actual game, too.
Oh wow.
So I could have, my whatever music I was listening to at the time playing while the game was running. I didn't ever do the objectives in this game. I couldn't even tell you what they are. I literally just drove around and fucking rammed into shit and rammed into other cars, and I did that for countless hours on end, days, years maybe, while I had my Xbox.
And just listening to Crazy Frog on repeat the whole time.
Basically, probably, yeah. That and like, I don't know who else were we listening back to the day, fucking Akon or something, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't probably age well, but anyway. So yeah, it's I played the shit out of it as a kid, but yeah.
Okay. I have never heard of that, and there's at least 3 of them, so that's interesting.
Mhm. Couldn't tell you what the other 2 were about, but I played the fuck out of 3.
Okay. All right, number 47. So this is one you actually mentioned already, and it's Team Fortress 2.
Mm.
It's interesting that it kind of ended up like at the tail end of both of our lists. I think it has something to do with the fact that, it's a very simple game and we just have really fond memories of it.
Yeah.
Not just playing it, but also like the memes and like the YouTube videos
Oh,
that spawn
yeah,
from
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, listen, I have fond memories of eating Cheez-Its and playing Team Fortress 2 and drinking Coca-Cola. So
Damn,
that
you're
was the
making me want
first
Cheez-Its right now.
that was the first game I actually ever played online on any system. It was on the Xbox 360, and I played the Orange Box, and I had Team Fortress 2, and that was the first game I bought Xbox Live for, and I plugged in my console, and yeah, so nostalgia plays a big factor there, but it's also just a fun little game. So
Cool.
yeah.
My next game, 47. Agent 47. Also a Rockstar title. Also a game I don't think you've ever heard of, potentially.
Is it Agent?
No.
The game that's not out?
No. Midnight Club 2.
I've heard of Midnight Club. I've never played them.
Midnight Club 2. It is a racing game, right?
Yep.
Basically, purely, I would compare it to almost like a Tokyo Drift style, like, racing game.
Okay.
Again, did I do the fucking objectives in this game? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know what I did do in this game, though? I would get in a police car, and I would pretend that I was a policeman. And I would go around and just fucking crash the shit out of people's cars. And again, I fixated on this game for a very long time. I played the fucking shit out of it, my man, hours on end, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I had to put these games at 47 and 48 on my list because I think about how much, ridiculous amounts of time as a kid I spent in them. And I have such fond memories of just fucking around and not caring what was going on. Just not caring what was going on.
As a kid, you just really like destroying things, specifically while driving a vehicle.
Destroying things and role-playing in those things when I was destroying them that was completely separate from what was actually the point of the game. And that is a common theme with actually a couple things on my list. But I think about them fondly and how much time I spent with them as a kid. And they were actually, these last two were some of the first games that came to my mind when I thought about my list. I was like, oh, Midnight Club and Midtown Madness. They have to be on there. So
wow, that's interesting. All right. Number 46, Josh. Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Oh.
This one was the first game, along with Super Mario Sunshine, the first game I got on my GameCube. And I played the ever-loving fuck out of this game. This was the first Smash Bros. I ever played. I didn't play the 64 one first. I played this one first. And just, man, specifically, we have an old friend, Alvaro. Him and I, at his house, used to play Melee all the time. Before I even had it, him and I would play it. And, just had to unlock certain characters, leaving the GameCube on for... literally, you had to leave your GameCube on for, like, days or have, like, days worth of playtime to get Mewtwo. Mm-hmm. And we would just do that. We would just leave the GameCube on and get Mewtwo. Getting all the little trophies was awesome. There's so many things I could say about Melee. Now, I'm not a big Melee fan now, and like I don't play it competitively or Wave Dash or any of that, crazy shit that competitive guys do. But I have such a sweet spot in my heart for Melee. Just such a cool game, seeing all these characters together fighting each other. And I'll just say this isn't the last time you'll hear me say Super Smash Bros. On this list.
Wow. Okay. My 46. A game that I actually recently beat. One could say that I just beat it. One might say that this could be recency bias. But one could also say that it is literally one of my favorite games of all time. And that is Detention.
Wow.
The impact this game had on me last night when I beat it, like I mentioned earlier in the pod.
Nice.
It's one of the few games in my life that I've played where I just sat there at the end. I was like, fuck, man. Like, wow. First of all, it's one of the scariest games I've ever played. This game is terrifying. It is legitimately terrifying, and that's coming from you and I. People who consume horror regularly,
Yeah.
and not really an adjective I would frequently use. It's terrifying, and it starts with the art design, and the art design is terrifying and unique and weird, and the story is sad and depressing, and satirical about like government control, which I think right now too is a very satiant topic.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
this is the Taiwanese and more loosely Chinese government, but the characters are interesting. It is not a whodunit mystery, but it's a what the fuck is going on mystery. How it presents things, how you move through the world, how you solve puzzles. One of the most interesting puzzle solving experiences I've ever had in my life. First of all, they're hard, they're not easy. But once you figure out that all the puzzles are linked directly to storytelling elements of the game, it becomes a little bit more easy. And how you move through and interact with the world and transition between places and the structure of it. And then the very, very end, which I looked it up. Apparently, I got the true ending. There's multiple endings. So that might be
Nice.
part of why my experience was so positive. If you do everything and make good choices, I think it's probably pretty easy. But yeah, man, it is one of the most terrifying and also impactful games I've ever played. And from an art design perspective, it is uh, gorgeous and also scary. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, Josh? If anyone wants to check out your review of Detention, GG
Mm,
App, they
that's
have
right.
a great review that you wrote. So
Yeah.
check that out. Very cool.
All right.
All right, number 45, Josh. We're getting there. This is probably, I think, the only time that this franchise is going to be on my list, but it might be on yours quite a few times. And that is Tony Hawk's Underground 1.
Oh,
Thug.
baby.
So listen, this game is just the bee's fucking knees, all right? You got a Tony Hawk game. I've played all the older ones. I played all of them. This is the first one where you can get off your board. You can walk around.
Man after my own heart knows exactly why.
I remember making my own character, made him look slick. I remember it being inside the main character has an apartment. I loved how it was like a suburban neighborhood as like the first area because I grew up in a suburban neighborhood. Very reminiscent of like where I'm from. And just there's so many parts of this game that I have such fond memories of. I remember Eric, the antagonist of the game, who was your former best friend. He's such a little fucking piece of shit, and he like turns on you, and just at the end, you finally get your revenge. And the very end of the game, you unlock a Kiss concert as the final skate park, and you collect all the letters, and Kiss comes on stage, and like you're skating around while Kiss is on. There's a fucking freak show where a fire breather is breathing fire, and there's guys sticking swords in his throat. I think that game is just awesome, and it's probably it is my favorite Tony Hawk game. So yeah, Tony Hawk Underground 1.
Yeah. Let's just say that's not the last time you'll hear something from the Tony Hawk franchise on these segments. Okay.
I'm sure.
My 45 might be a little bit of a surprise to you. But again, another game where I actually played the objectives this time, but just spent a shit ton of time in as a kid. And that is The Sims, the original Sims, the first Sims game before EA fucked it up like they always do. I had a lot of fun in this game, man. There's so much like small attention to detail, things that you can do in it. I mean, the actual home design, element of it, trying to figure out shit, how you need to make money to get better shit, the relationship aspect of it. I used to like make my family in it, put friends and stuff in it. It was an awesome, focused, enjoyable experience. Figuring out how to kill your Sims if you wanted to, like, how to make sure that they don't go to the bathroom so they piss themselves on the floor. And then also, I used to get scared as a kid at night in The Sims because you could get robbed. Like, you could get, like, your house could get robbed. Dude, I used to fucking lose my shit when my house got robbed. Both angry and also scared. So, yeah,
That's interesting. I've never played The Sims 1. I've only played 2.
Mm.
So,
also good. But it's just, it's bare bones compared to Sims now, but it was an awesome experience. And I spent a shit ton of time in that game.
do you remember the Herbs Sims in the City?
Sim City, Sims in the
No.
City.
Yeah, it was called Herbs, URBZ, I think. Sims in the City, and it was like an edgy city version of The Sims. No,
I think I might have heard of it. Maybe I don't know.
the cover was like orange. I didn't know if you've. I was basically asking if it was on your list because that game's abysmal.
Oh no, this is the only time The Sims will appear on my list.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Number 44. A franchise that appears on this list so many times. One of them was my honorable mention. That is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which is the port of Sonic Adventure 2 for the GameCube and I believe the PlayStation 2. Josh, have you played this?
No, maybe like for 5 seconds, but yeah.
Okay. Listen, Sonic Adventure 2 has so many qualities about it that make it a fantastic game. I have such fond memories of this game on the GameCube. Chow Garden. I literally only have to say that, and everyone that has played this game will go, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But the Chow Garden aspect, where you basically raise these little creatures called chows from an egg into a little creature, and then they evolve by you giving them items, and they get stronger, and they change their look, and they get faster, and they can swim, and they can, fight, and you could take them to the fucking arena, and they do shit, and then race, and the Chow Garden is slick, and it's just a little tacked on little Tamagotchi life, or Tamagotchi light kind of thing that they threw into the game for no reason, and it's slick, okay? But besides that, the first level of this game, you got City Escape, where Sonic the Hedgehog jumps off a fucking helicopter, uses the door, I think, as a fucking surfboard, and surfs down city streets, and then a big Mack truck is chasing after him, and he's fucking riding on a skateboard. That game is slick, all right? And if you know what the words are after I say, rolling around at the speed of sound, then you know this game slaps fucking hard. That's it.
Wow. All right. There you go. All right. My 44, Bret. An original Xbox game. Again, don't know if you've heard of it. You might have. Outlaw Golf 2. Outlaw Golf 2. It's basically just an arcade golf game.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
But with the twist that all of the characters are essentially ex-convicts and have super abysmal personalities. The girls have fucking massive tits. The guys are like fucking douchebags. Really just kind of like a scummy game. But I had so much fucking fun with this game. The actual arcade like gameplay elements are interesting, and how they present courses to you, and different characters have different abilities. There was a lot of interaction between you and your caddy. There's a lot of different animations for different things that you could do, and ways that you could kind of circumvent normal golf rules, which I remember really fondly. But also just the cast of characters. I think they were voiced really well. I found them interesting, even though they were like scummy and gross, but that was the point. And I, again, spent a shit ton of time with this game, in this game as a kid, and had a lot of fun. And I honestly almost put Outlaw Golf, the original, in it, and also Outlaw Volleyball in here too, but I didn't. This is the only Outlaw title you'll find, because specifically Outlaw Golf 2 introduced a lot more characters and elements than those other games. So,
Gotcha. Never played it. I've heard of it. I've seen it. I've never played it.
Mhm.
All right, number 43. We're almost there.
Yep.
BMX Triple X. Just kidding. That's not actually it.
Okay.
Have you heard of BMX Triple X?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a really bad biking game where you can make the girls have no shirt on and they have their boobs out. And also, for some reason, they added a collectible item that lets you watch real strippers, videos of strippers stripping. and there was a cheat code that you could enter as a kid or whenever, but I did it as a kid, and it would unlock all these videos of these strippers stripping and auga.
Mhm.
Anyway, so number 43 is Rocket League.
Wow.
Rocket League is a free to play multiplayer game right now, so I'm sure a lot of people watching this have played it or at least tried it. When I first got it, it was free with PlayStation Plus. Josh picked it up. We played a lot of it. We still play it from time to time, and I think it's just a really fun game. And it's the second time that Psyonix tried to make this game essentially because they had super acrobatic
Robot
whatever battle
powered
cars.
battle cars, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of like made that, and it didn't do anything. And they kind of like remade it and like changed it up, and they hit like a home run. And I just think that Rocket League has turned into this awesome game, and it's been a great game from the beginning. And yeah, it's my number 43. I can't say anything else really except it's awesome.
All right. Good choice. My 43. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Nice.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Why? First of all, have fond memories of the multiplayer in this game. Even though it was
A
abysmal.
lot of people do.
Even though it was abysmal. Fond memories of playing multiplayer in this game. I mean, for fucking months. Just coming home after school and playing this with you and Alvaro and whoever. Just, I mean, fond memories, even as abysmal as it was. Awesome multiplayer experience.
I would argue, Josh, that although we also played the original Modern Warfare online, I think that Modern Warfare 2 was the one that really took off, and that was like a lot of people's first one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I probably spent way more time in the multiplayer for Modern Warfare 2 than Modern Warfare 1. I think Modern Warfare 1 multiplayer is better, but still.
Yeah.
And then also the campaign for Modern Warfare 2. Campaign for Modern Warfare 1 is awesome. Just listen, this is not the last time you'll hear this in this list. But the campaign for Modern Warfare 2, what a apt, beautiful, perfect sequel to the original game. And just an awesome actual story, which Call of Duty does not hit as much anymore. Over the top, but also had a lot of heart. Loved the characters. Fond memories of this game. Incredible game. Had to put it on here.
Love it. Modern Warfare 2 did not make my list, but you will hear from that series.
Mhm.
Number 42, a controversial game. Love it or hate it. I loved it, and that would be Infamous Second Son.
Oh, yes. Controversial. People don't like that game?
A lot of people don't like this game. And it all kind of stems from Delson, and a lot of people think he's like edgy or, too much. I love Delson, and I think Troy Baker did like an excellent job playing him. He's not a perfect character.
It's not supposed to be.
He's shitty. He's shitty to his brother, and that's why there's certain moments in the game that are more impactful, because that's called writing, and that's how you make a story.
Yeah, and Travis Willingham did an awesome job as his brother.
As Reggie. Yeah, he killed it. I really liked the different powers in this game. I think that the last power is probably the weakest one you get, but it makes sense story-wise. I just think, it was a great game, great story. I think great characters, great visuals. I mean, shit, when this came out, we were blown away by the particle effects. Yeah, man. And the neon power, just running with the neon streaks behind, just sucking the neon up, feeling your controller vibrate as you did it. Yeah, Infamous Second Son. I just like the aesthetic of the game, and I liked both endings, the good ending and the fucking evil ending, which is actually really fucked up. So, yeah.
Love it. Good choice.
Thank you.
My 42, another Rockstar game, Bret.
Wow.
Yeah.
Surprised they're all down here
Well,
and not up top for you.
listen, there's more.
Okay.
This is, again, not the last time Rockstar games will be on my list. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
I played the campaign specifically. I've played the campaign 3 times now. 3 times now.
Wow.
Once on 360, twice on PlayStation 4. This game story wise, I love it. I love the dynamics between the characters. I love Trevor. I love the dynamics between Michael and oh geez,
Franklin.
Franklin. Between Michael and Franklin, almost like a father and son type thing. I love the wild card nature of the story in general, and how you switch between those characters was such a interesting and unique kind of way to experience that story. Um, and I have a lot of fun. There's a lot of really, really awesome moments in that game. And I'm not one that typically plays many games more than once. Um, so the fact that I've played this 3 times and beat it 3 times for a Rockstar size story speaks volumes. So
Yeah. This is one that I never finished actually, but that's just because it's so fucking long. I rarely finish Rockstar games. That's my problem. But this one specifically, I love being able to switch between the 3 characters, and it kind of just puts you in a moment of their life. Like Trevor could be beating someone up.
yeah,
Franklin would just be in his apartment chilling.
yeah,
I really kind of hope that the next GTA game takes that and uses that to have multiple characters as well, because
yeah.
it's like a really cool mechanic, and I think that it could be something that GTA is known for going forward. So yeah, great pick. That's that is like the best selling game of all time, right? So
Yeah.
makes sense.
All right.
All right, 41, the last one, right?
Yep. For this segment.
Josh, number 41 is a game called Titanfall 2. This game has a campaign that will surprise the shit out of you. It is so good and touching, and has one of the slickest and coolest things I've ever seen in a video game. And just like awesome use of video games as a medium, and something you really couldn't do, or you could do in a movie or a TV show, but it wouldn't have the same effect as it did in this. And not only that, dude, the game, plays great, runs great, looks great, but also like the multiplayer, which I didn't play a lot of, is so fun. And just the moment you call the Titan down and you get inside him and you can jump on Titan's backs and rip the batteries out and give them to your friends. And like, I wish we played this game more, because it's really fun. And being fans of anime and mechs and stuff like that, it just really speaks to us. And yeah, I don't know if you ever finished. I don't even know if you even played or tried
I
Titanfall 2's
tried.
campaign.
I've played the campaign a little bit, but I have not ever beaten it.
It's so good, and it's really cool that the universe is being expanded upon with Apex Legends, and you may or may not hear about Apex Legends later. So
I would agree with you on that statement. All right, Brett. To round out our first, Josh and Brett's favorite 50 games of all time. Number 41 for me. Telltale's The Walking Dead. The original.
that's a fantastic game.
It's a phenomenal game. First Telltale game. The first game that was modernized for the point and click type of adventure, with one of the most gutting, intriguing, and best stories I've ever experienced. And that's what I think about when I think about this game. I don't think about how it ran, right? I don't think about the issues with that and their engine. I think about the story and the characters, and Clementine specifically. And the end of this game making me want to just crawl up in a ball and just hide. This game is incredible. It is voice acted to perfection. It is directed to perfection. It is written to perfection. And at the time was kind of the height of The Walking Dead, when we were still into the TV show. So to experience a different story in that world was
Better.
incredible.
Story.
Yes, I agree. Played it several times. Originally played it on an iPad, which is wild. That was like my first experience with the game.
Wow.
Was on an iPad, and I played it many different other platforms. But yeah, it is a story, and Clementine specifically as a character is why this is on my list.
That's such a good pick, and it actually didn't make my list, mainly because I kind of forgot about it, but I don't know if it would have placed anyway,
Mhm.
just because of everything else. But that game is phenomenal. And I think about the one moment, and you know what moment I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and how I sobbed. I literally like was sobbing playing it.
Yeah.
What a fucking game. And honestly, I haven't even played part 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, however many there are, because it's such a good standalone experience as itself. And it's just great pick. Great pick.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
The sequels are good, but nothing is as good as the original.
Yeah. I'm glad
So-
they got to tie up the story. I know like Telltale kind of fell under and people were worried about the last game, but I'm glad they did eventually end up being able to finish it. So
Right. So
All right.
that was the first installment of Brett and Josh's top 50 games of all time. I know it was a long segment, but if you enjoyed it, let us know. We're going to be doing this for a couple weeks leading up to our top 10 and then ultimately Haptic Intel's top 10 when we score and rank everything. So let us know. All right, Brett, to round out the pod this week like we do every week, talking about indie games, indie Intel. This week, we're talking about a game called Singularity. Okay. Singularity is a Kickstarter game made by one person in Japan, who we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. But Singularity is a game where you can explore the world of consciousness. What is consciousness? Where does it come from? Why do we have consciousness? What happens if you lose it? The game is generated by these particular questions. Singularity has 3D graphics that portray and respond to the changes in light and shadows in real time. The game adapts a multi-ending system where your personality and attributes are being reflected. They are planning to have 5 to 8 different endings. There are doors that cannot be opened unless you find the key, and gimmicks that you can't proceed if you make a mistake in the procedure. So first of all, there's a little translation issues, obviously, with it. It's coming from Japan. So if some of the stuff I just said sounded weird, it's because of the translation. But yeah, Brett, this game looks really cool. Kind of reminiscent, slightly almost of like an Inside or an Inzane, if you will. Shout out to the Inzane guys. But looks really cool. Made by one person in Japan who is a student currently, Brett, in college.
That's right. The thing I liked about the game was the little, pictures and videos that they had showing it off. To be honest with you, the Kickstarter page does not explain much about the game except what you just read. I think that's the extent of what we know.
Yeah.
The game looks really cool and looks really good. Also, I really dig the it's common nowadays. We actually just talked about it in our previous segment. But like multi endings and your actions, influence the end of the game.
Right.
But like the way he describes it just sounds like really awesome. Like certain doors will be locked if you do something that you're not supposed to do. Or if there's like a key and you don't find that key, well, guess what? That path is locked for the rest of the game. So there's consequences to your actions. And if you don't do something, then you miss out on the ending. I like that.
Yeah. And he talked about it in here. What really stood out to me watching the trailer, and I know HBot will throw some footage over this when she's editing it.
No problem, Josh.
But the use of lighting and how it plays in the world, not necessarily something we haven't seen before, but is clearly done well and intentionally. And it's the first thing that stood out to me. And also the creature design looks fucking creepy.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. So yeah, man, really cool, interesting game. You can back it on Kickstarter right now. The campaign just started. We're going to link it in the description. Go support the dev. Check it out. Anything else to add, Brett?
Let's just see if we can make this happen. It actually has a pretty decent amount of people backing it already. And they're not requesting too much. Right. The guy who's developing it, like we said, is from Japan, and he's a student in college. And I think what it comes down to is essentially he wants to publish this game, but he can't secure a release date or a publishing date until he has more funds to know this is a worthwhile project.
Right.
And he did mention he is in school and he has to write papers and do his homework and stuff. So development on this might be a little weird. But I think if we fund it and if we especially go over the goal, he might kind of, focus on this a little bit more. So that's why I'm really antsy to see where it goes. And I'm really antsy to, try and pledge myself. So
yeah. All right. Singularity. Check it out, everybody. All right, Bret. That's it. That's the end of the pod for this week.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, joining us inside of Haptic HQ for another episode of Hapticast. Bret, what do you want to say?
I want to say if you watched this far into the podcast video, then you're a true fan, and I appreciate you, and I love you, and Josh appreciates you as well. And also, you know, we have another video that just went live. We mentioned at the top of the pod, Unclaimed Baggage. Go check that out. It's a series that we want to, our video we want to turn into a series, and we want to know what you guys think. So please check that out. Leave a comment. Let us know. And also check out Josh's PS1 teardown that went live a couple weeks ago. Great video, and that's something else that we kind of want to start messing around with as well. So go check out those two videos. And again, thank you so much for watching.
All right, folks, that'll do it. Do all the YouTube stuff, subscribe, hit the notification bell, jump into the comments, share it with your friends. And until the next video, bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Hapticast. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss an upload.